Ladies and gentlemen of the internet, good morning, good evening, and good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. My name is Virginie, Vitcz, and I am a mentor and an advisor for thought leaders, celebrities, and business women. I decided to launch a series of interviews to inspire women all around the world and to interview the strongest and the best women in their field so that the other women can understand that whatever they want and whatever they want to achieve in their life, if they really want it, they can do it. Today, my guest is Katie Helliwell. Hello, Katie.
Hello, my darling. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for being here. I'm so happy. Can you introduce yourself for the audience, please?
Yes. Hello, everyone. And thank you for listening to this podcast. My name is Katie Helliwell. I am the psychic expert. I specialize in activating people's natural psychic abilities. And I also bring my gifts. This is a bit where I'm a little bit different, because you were saying I'm a little bit different. This is where I'm a bit more specialized. I can actually see with spiritual entrepreneurs gaps in their businesses, in their general well-being, and what their spirit guides are trying to communicate to them in order to step into their ultimate success. So I do a variety of different things with my gifts. But ultimately, overall, it's I connect people back to who they are actually here to be and what their true purpose is.
That's very interesting. So you connect to the spiritual guides of the people, and
Yes.
then you transmit. You transfer the messages. You transmit the messages.
Yeah. Have you ever watched the UN? Have you ever watched the UN on the news? And they have all the headsets on and all the different languages. I'm basically a person with the headset. So all I do is translate what their guides are trying to say into a language and formula and something that is actually understandable for the clients.
Wow, that's amazing. So it could be so easy for so many people and help so many people. Thank you.
Oh.
So my first question would be, what challenge was the most difficult challenge you encounter in your life? And how did you manage to go back on track after that?
The biggest challenge I've had is accepting that I was actually gifted, because everyone talks about psychic gifts and let's develop your gifts. And I think it's wonderful in this day and age now that people are actually doing that. Whereas back in my day, I was trying to find a book on how to actually lose your gift and how to get rid of it. And why do they even call it a gift? It's like a ball and chain around my neck. So I didn't want anything to make me different or stand out in any way. And I don't really know why, but I felt very, very isolated. And I felt as if I was being tortured for some reason with this gift, and I had no control over it and no idea what it was here for. All I just saw, it was just difficult and it made my life hard. And I battled with that for many, many years, because I didn't have the support that's out there now online, where you can just Google and you can go and do a class and you can go and do a masterclass, or you can go and read a certain book on it. It really wasn't like that back in like the late 80s and early 1990s. It wasn't like that at all. It's only recently. And I'm so glad it's shifted for the next generation, for people learning now. It's such a big thing. But I really, really struggled for years. I hid away. I tried to hide my gift. I couldn't sleep for a number of years. My poor parents were nearly driven to despair because they didn't know what to do with me. Nobody in the family was spiritual, not owning up to the fact that they were spiritual, because again, it's not really a thing people spoke openly about. And it took a long time for me to come to terms with it. And it was only after a near-death experience, when I had my first daughter at 23, that I actually realised that spirituality is a good thing. There was lots of spirits in the room during the time when I had the near-death experience. And then I realised that they were actually there supporting and bringing love. And then I was like, well, if something's there in that moment when I needed them the most, how can it be bad? How can it be a bad thing? And that's where I started to think, could this be something else? Maybe it is a gift. Maybe it is something that could be good. And I started to look into it. And yeah, it still took a long time from that space, but that's where the biggest challenge started to turn the other way. So it was a challenge for many years, and it did leave quite a lot of scars and a lot of blocks.
I see. What's funny is that you're talking about your gifts being your challenge and not about the near-death experience being the challenge. That's funny, because for most people it would be the near-death experience, but for you it's just, okay, so when did your gifts appear? So that people understand how long, you had to carry and to hold those gifts for yourself and maybe not talk about it. When did they appear? How old were you?
So I was 3 when my parents first recognised it. I was only 3, and I used to talk to the lady in our house, but their house now they live in. I keep forgetting I don't live there. And they said, "Oh, who are you talking to?" And I said, "Oh, I'm talking." And I said the full name and her history and everything. And I was 3. They were like, "Oh my gosh, what is wrong with her? She's not normal." And a bit scared, as most people would be. And they just then kind of just accepted that it was just, I don't know why, but they just accepted it was just something I did. And they realised that I had imaginary friends, which they thought was cute. But actually, these imaginary friends, I could actually see these children. They used to play with me. We had a great time with my doll houses and all the toys. I loved it. I was happy. So I was playing with them. They had the most incredible clothes, these children. They had like Victorian clothes. So when I went shopping to buy new things, I was looking for these outfits and I couldn't see them anywhere. So it wasn't until I was like 7 or 8 that I realised that I was different. I remember it, my mum was saying, she was laying the table, and I said, "Oh, don't forget a place for my friend." And she just went, "Oh, yes." And she said, "Oh, yeah." And she was pretending she could see them. And then I realised that she wasn't looking in the same spot. So I was like, "Oh, no." And I said, "Why aren't you looking? They're not sat there, they're here." And then when I clicked that she couldn't see, and she was so like, "Oh gosh," I just remember thinking, oh my God, what is wrong with me? Why can't she see these people? Why can't she see it? And then from there, it was like panic, blockers. What on earth's wrong with me? I'm weird, I'm different, all of these things. And then as soon as I realised that these children were spirit children, it was like I'd opened up some kind of floodgates where everything was coming, all different visits and like lost stray spirits everywhere. And it was awful from the age of about 7 till I'd say around 15. And by the age of 15, I started to turn into a bit of a party girl. So I found that the more I partied and had loud music and lots of friends around, the less interaction spiritually. So I used to go to sleep listening to like rave music and crazy things to try and drown out. So I can sleep anywhere now. Wow. So it was many years.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my God. That's so... I had chills when you talked about it. And I can imagine, like they say, it's great powers demand great responsibilities. So, yeah.
Absolutely.
So what would you say to your younger self?
I'd say you're going to be okay. You're going to be okay. Stop worrying. You're going to be all right. And my younger self, it depends how young you want to go back. Because obviously, it's really hard if you've got a psychic child. If any of your listeners have got that or had this experience themselves, they'll know exactly what I mean. Because you don't have the emotional maturity to deal with spirituality at that age. And even in the age of like 16 to 18, it's like even then you're still not emotionally mature enough. Well, maybe some people, depending on what their lives have gone through. But it's a lot to take on. So my younger self, I would have said, you know, believe in yourself, believe in what's been presented to you. You're not crazy. You're okay and you're safe and nothing's going to happen to you. You can sleep. Because I was so fearful of spirit, but actually spirit aren't the thing you need to be fearing in life. And I didn't know that. And obviously what you can't see or what's not explainable logistically, it's what people tend to fear the most.
Wow. I'm amazed. It's a beautiful story. Thank you so much for being here.
Oh, no, you're welcome.
What would be your advice for a woman who is stuck in her life, has a dream, but doesn't go for it?
Oh, I meet so many of these people, so many. And a lot of the time when people aren't going after their dreams, and this is where I help female entrepreneurs really step up their level. And the reason a lot of them don't is they have a lack of connection to themselves and their purpose. And I wrote a post on this actually yesterday, and it's really key. And it was like 5 points from spirit that I'd learned over the years and what they highlighted. And it was that if you create from a place of trauma, so if you had an experience and you create from a place of trauma as a result of that, it can bring you huge success. and it can bring you a platform, the engagement, the cash, everything. But the actual feeling that we should be seeking is the true fulfillment, and the true fulfillment won't be there. So a lot of people that I help are disengaged from their businesses, or they feel disconnected in some way. They're looking for something more. And the reason for that is because they haven't created from a place of passion and true purpose. So my advice to you is connect to yourself, create something and build something that is because you want to leave that imprint on the world. Like, you'll feel it, you'll feel that connection, you'll feel that pull, and it will be easy. If something feels really hard and it feels like you're pushing, it's not really your destination, your path. Whereas when things just happen very naturally and very simply and very easy, like this, like you've said to me, the questions to this, and I don't want to think about them, I just want it to flow. When you trust in where you're at and what you do and how you deliver, it's a very natural flow. So if you're actually struggling at the moment, or you're feeling resistance to doing something, rather than facing all the blocks or what is that's holding me back or what it could be, focus in and connecting to yourself. Go into yourself and get yourself out into nature, ground yourself, and understand what you're passionate about. And if you, God forbid, were to leave the planet tomorrow, what would you want your legacy to have actually said? And I think that's the real key thing here. What is the legacy that you want to leave? What's the imprint? Because it doesn't have to be something huge. It doesn't have to be groundbreaking. You don't have to be known by half the world. But leaving your imprint is important as anyone else's. You're valid just as much as anyone else. And so tap into you and understand what it is you're here to do and why. Connect to you. And that's where the guides come in. You tend to, your guides know, they're leading you every day. But if you're feeling it's difficult, just stop and just reassess. And don't sit there and try and analyze yourself and try and cleanse yourself, because you'll never be done. We're layers and layers. But you do need to move, and you need to connect to who you are. Yeah.
That's beautiful. What are you most proud about?
That I accepted who I am. And I've declared it to the world, because it's inspired other people, and the amount of people I've activated with their gifts and brought them peace and clarity in the messages that I bring, and the beauty of spirituality. I'm so proud that more people get to see that, and that it's more positive out there in the world for other people. And, when we go back to in our generation, in our field, in our industry, there was people burnt at the stake for sharing what they actually believed in. And I think, hang on a minute, if they can risk being burnt at the stake, I can risk going Facebook Live and saying, hello, I think I have a gift and I'd like to help you all with it. So, I just think I'm so proud that we stepped out of the spiritual closet and declared, and really just continue to do this great work, because every day it's purpose-filled. Every day it's leaving more imprints. Every day it's activating more people. And I can't think of anything greater in the world than doing that every single day of your life.
Yeah. If you inspire one person, it's a victory already. Yes.
You have a good day. Yeah.
What does it mean for you to be a strong woman in the third millennium?
Oh, women, yes. You see, I like to think of us all as one. I don't like to focus on the genders. I know I said I work with women, but we're all powerful individuals. And I think what is actually meaning more to me is making sure I'm a strong example for the younger generation and an inspiration for them to achieve more. So I've got 3 daughters, and I like to be able to let them know that they can do anything, be anything, and allow themselves to be themselves. And I think that's the really important thing here. So I would say that just inspiring yourself to be fully you, and how that imprints on other people watching, is such a big thing, and it shouldn't be overlooked.
You have 3 daughters. Wow. Yeah. So you're an entrepreneur, businesswoman, and also a mother of 3. Congratulations.
Yeah. And I'm on to the child. So they're 19, 17 and 14.
Wow. Yeah. You could be their sisters. You look so young.
I wish. Oh, they're incredible.
Oh, as a little girl, what did you dream about your future life? What did you dream about for your future life?
Do you remember at school, I don't know whether you had this in your school, but we just have these career people come in. And they used to go through like, what are your likes and dislikes, and try and match you to a career path. And mine never made any sense. They were so bizarre, the things they came out with. But my mom and dad always used to say to me, you need to just marry rich. You need to just marry rich because you like a life of luxury and you like to be looked after and you like to be just, just kept. And apparently when they asked me what I was going to do, I used to say, I'm going to sit in my mansion and drink my tea and ride my horse. Well, I'd never been on a horse riding lesson. I drink the tea, but that's what I used to say all the time. And it's like crazy. But I had no clear ambition as a child. I know that sounds awful, but I had nothing. I didn't want to be a ballerina, a princess. I was just I think I was so tired from the lack of sleep, from spirituality. I couldn't connect to that. I couldn't connect to this bigger vision. And I couldn't see, and I was trying to keep myself normal and small because I didn't want to be put in a bracket of meant for more or gifted or separated in any way. I just wanted to be the same as everybody. So I don't know why, I just didn't want to stand out. But I was always told from a young age, like a voice and my guides, that I would be famous, and well known. And, it's not transpired yet. We'll wait and see, work in progress. And when my parents used to visit, when my mum used to visit psychics, they always said, she's got the gift, she's so strong, she'll be on stage, her name's going to be in lights and all of this. But I had no real ambition in myself, which sounds sad now when I think about it. But I remember having nothing. And my friends used to say, oh, I'm going to be a doctor and I'm going to do this. And a lot of them have gone on to do what they said they were going to do. And I was just like, I'm just going to just be me. And they're like, what? How are you going to earn anything?
That's a great program. So how close are you to this dream? So there was no real dream, but mansion, drinking tea.
So I don't ride a horse, but I do have a little fur dog, so that's good. And I spend a lot of time walking him in the fields. And I think that's the thing. I wanted to be in nature because that's where I feel the most grounded, the most calm. So every day I go out with my dog and we walk in nature. We've moved to a beautiful house, which is semi-countryside. It's not completely rural because of the teenagers, but it's semi-countryside. So you can hear sheep and things, which is really nice. And I do drink my tea, and my days are very much how I design to do them and how I want to be. But what I didn't realise about myself back then is I'm really ambitious and I've got such a strong business head, and I'd love to say that it's just natural and like it's just come from me, but I haven't done any courses on this to get this business head. But I've just got this strong business ethic and I know where to go, what to create, what to do. And it's the gift, it's my guides. They tune in, they're like, give the clients this, your clients need that, you need to write this program, this is what they need delivered. And it flows so beautifully. And that's from being connected. And that's from getting the message out there, because it's one thing to be gifted, but it's quite another to get it out into a business to help people on a grander scale. Lots of people want to help people out there, but then they limit themselves and make themselves small in so many ways and not visible. But you've got to be visible, and that takes strategy and a business plan and a mind and, and connections. It has to be done that way. So there's so much more that I ever realised I could do. And I think I only just really uncovered that in my 30s, which I think a lot happens to most people. I think a lot of people have that.
Yeah, I understand so well.
Yeah.
Who inspired you the most when you were younger, and why?
There was two people that were my main inspiration. One was Doris Stokes. She was a famous medium, and I read her books when I thought I was losing my mind, and they were fantastic. She explained in depth all about spirituality and her bravery, her experiences, and just reading how she was scared but she still did things, and she still gave all the readings, and all these amazing things happened to her. And she was such an inspiration. She was so normal as well, that reading her story really changed my life. It made me feel like I'd got some sort of normality and some grounding. I just absolutely adored her. She's passed on now, but I just thought she was amazing. She's an amazing person. She left such a legacy, and she started to change the world of spiritualism, and I do think she was a massive catalyst of that. So she was my first one, and I always talk about her now. And the other one was my mum. So my mum is an incredible entrepreneur herself. Her and my dad ran hairdressing businesses, and they used to have like salons and, you know, staff and managing all the chaos that comes with it. So I think I absorbed a strong, powerful woman that was a mom and did it all. And she was also a wife and had friends and ran the house. And I don't know how she did it because she didn't have any help. I have a lot of help. She didn't have any help. She laughs at me. She's like, oh, where's this stored in the house? She'll come around and she'll say, where's this? And I'm like, oh, I don't know. I'll have to ask the cleaner. She's like, what? How can you not know where that is? And I'm like, because I get help, Mom. I have a lot of help. So she didn't. She did most of it all herself. And I don't really know why. But so I find her really inspiring, what they created, what they did together. It's really inspirational.
You absorbed the business tips they transferred to you without even noticing. Yeah.
Yeah, it becomes second nature.
Mm-hmm. What would you say to a woman who thinks she's too young or too old to create her dream life?
Okay, so I can see how you would think you might be too young to start things, because I do think, personally, just for myself, the older I've become, the more empowered I've become, definitely. So I can see why that would happen. However, if you've got a calling and you've got a pull, you can do it at any age and you can evolve. And the beauty of doing it younger rather than later is you can adapt and change, and you can do even more, and you can branch out and create more magic, more inspiration. And you don't have to just focus necessarily on the one thing, you've got more time to expand and grow. So I do think, do it when you feel the pull. It's the first thing. Don't force it, and don't create just because you want an outcome. A lot of people do that. They're like, I want to have money, or I want to have a house, or I want to travel. And it's like, then you're creating to produce an outcome. There's no soul connected to it. So if you are young and you feel the pull to something, and there's something you can't get off your mind and you feel ready to say yes to it, then say yes to it and go for it. But don't do it for a tangible outcome. Do it because you're feeling the pull, the passion, and then all the tangible outcomes and all your desires will be sent to you anyway. It's just a natural thing. It's part of the process. But don't make them the driving force. So I know that sounds a little bit backward there, because most people do, but it won't work that way for you. You'll have more power, more energy if you do it your way and connect to the passion. And thinking you're too old is ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous, because just because you're older doesn't mean that you're running out of time. None of us know. Even us psychics don't know when the time's up here on earth. So you live every moment in every day. And if you've got something in you to create a message to give, then go out there and give that message and give it your all. And the wisdom you have when you're older, and the power and the confidence, especially for women, I do feel like the more older we become, the more powerful we become. And you care so much less what people think. I can't even begin to tell you when I hit 40 that you just don't care what people think. You just get on with it, don't you? It's so incredibly empowering and freeing. Whereas in your 30s and 20s, I was certainly quite a little bit offended by people and quite easily affected. Whereas 40, you just get on with it. So if you're older than that and you are thinking your time has passed you by, your passion will never pass you by. Your time will never pass you by. And time is a myth anyway. We don't know how long any of us have got. And leave your legacy. You can change your life in a week. You can change your life in a day. You can make a decision today that tomorrow can completely change everything around you. And only you've got the power to say yes to that and press that start button.
Oh my God. Thank you so much.
Welcome.
I was thinking about me, because sometimes I think, I've been an actress for many years and it didn't work out. And then I stopped during COVID because I wasn't making money anyway. So I stopped. And I've been thinking about it lately. And I was like, oh, come on, you're just too old for that. So I hear you. Thank you so much for this interview. I had to hear things today, apparently.
Oh, good. I'm pleased. No, you're not.
Thank you so much.
Today to new beginning, new start.
I hear that a lot when for women who are actresses, I hear that a lot, like around 50, it's like, I'm too old now. I'm too tired. I tried so much. I'm too tired. I'm too old. And I hear this very often these days, women thinking they are too old for a love story, I hear that a lot. So that's why I was asking this question. And thank you so much for being so inspiring. Thank you.
You're welcome.
In your opinion, what are the pluses to be coached by a woman instead of a man? And you're a coach. You're a coach in business, in personal life. You just use your spiritual gifts and guides to help people, right? But you're a coach too. So,
yeah.
What are the pluses to be coached by a woman?
Oh, there's a few. Firstly, we go through cycles, don't we? We go through these wonderful cycles. I've actually had a full hysterectomy, so I've been on HRT, hormone replacement therapy, for about 8 years. So I do think all of these things are contributing factors to having empathy and understanding. So I think we have a greater understanding of the human body and what the female body goes through as a whole, whether you're in cycles or whether you are just having babies or whether you're going through the menopause. I do think we have that empathy there. And we do respond, our bodies and our personalities and our minds respond to those hormonal changes. That's something to be aware of. And I don't think a male person can get it. I mean, they can understand their partners if they've got one that talks openly about it. But it's like for men, they don't have that hormone, that they just don't have it. So I think as a female, you can see in your clients, like I can see when they're going through it, and I can see when I'm like, are you going through perimenopause or are you doing this? And they're like, yeah. So we need to change things slightly. So I think there's more empathy and more appreciation for the human body, especially in the female form. So we have that. I think also if you have children, it's incredibly hard. And you see people saying, I do it all and it's so blissful and wonderful. But I personally find it really hard, and I found it very hard over the past 6 years, nearly I've been in business, to juggle the children and a business, like to juggle them both. Like, yeah, you get to have it all. You get to have the best of both worlds, and it has worked wonderfully for me. But it is incredibly hard. Like it is, because if they're sick and you've got to drop everything and just go and fetch them, or if you haven't got that support network, I see female entrepreneurs with their babies, and I think it's amazing, but they breastfeed whilst they're actually live training, or they disappear to go and settle the toddler, or, I think it's amazing what we do. And I think only women that are there in that situation would understand. And so it wouldn't bother me if my coach was there talking to a toddler at the same time, because I understand what it's like to be a mom. So I do think in that sense, it's that empathy for our lives as women. And also because a man can't feel that way. It's not the same. It really isn't. The other thing I would say is that we are more, I'm going to say this. Am I going to say it? Yes, I am. I feel we're more powerful. I do.
Thank you.
I think we are. I think we're more powerful. And I think we've got so much more. We care about the passion, the integrity, and the legacy so much more. And the need, like women are here to give and empower. And I'm not saying men can't do that. Of course they can. But I just feel that we've got it all. We've got it all going on. And we've had to fight for our place. And we've had to fight to be heard over the years. We've always been underestimated and the underdogs. And I think now we're allowed to rise and we've been given this safe space to be truly who we are. We're seeing women all over, I've got goosebumps now. We're seeing women all over the world rising in their industries and powerful, and women that, other little ones can look up to. And I think it's incredible. And I think there's nothing more inspiring, and there's nothing that brings me greater joy than to see a woman really succeed. I think it's easier for a man. I do. And I think the space we're creating now is making it easier for women. So I do think in that sense, if you've got a real passionate dream and you want the empathy and you want to feel guided and you want to be inspired and you want to leave your mark on the world, then a woman is yours. If you just want to learn strategic and just cut straight to the point, then possibly a man might be more for you.
I agree. What big problem did you encounter in your career that a man won't?
So when you're a woman and you put yourself out online, especially when I first started going live publicly, so I came out with my gift, and then I hid in a private Facebook group for a long time, went live in there for 18 months to get my confidence up, built a really good community. But then it was time to go public. Then it was time to step out of that and stop being a big baby. So I did, and I was faced with comments about my appearance from men, about my chest, about would I like to go out with them, and occasionally there'd be some photos sent. Very, very random. And I actually got quite, not scared, but a little bit like, oh gosh, what am I doing to attract this? Am I giving off some sort of vibe, or what is it? And it kept happening. I had marriage proposals, and all sorts of odd, weird things. It's like, I'm married, leave me alone. What is going on? So it was very, very odd. And it put me off, because every time I was going live and I was in my flow, when you see these comments come up, I've mastered like zoning out the comments now, but it's like they come up and they come up and they're constant, and they're really brave with their comments. And it kept throwing me off course and making me feel like, really, do I need to wear a polo neck? And I couldn't be empowered. It was like I was seen as just this object. It's the only way I can describe it. I was seen as this object. And it wasn't until I shifted my energy up, it's safe for me to be seen. It's safe for me to show up. I'm an empowered woman. I have something really important to give and share to the world. And then they disappeared. And it doesn't happen. So it's very, very rare it happens now. But isn't that interesting? So every time I doubt, or every time I feel small or vulnerable, they're there. But if I'm not, they're not there.
That's very interesting, because your aura is stronger when you feel good. So you're more protected.
Yeah.
Definitely. So what are your next projects?
Well, we're scaling at the moment. So we've got things going out there. So I worked predominantly one-to-one and have signature programs, but predominantly my magic was always one-to-one. But what I'm finding now is I can only reach so many, people. So I've created a membership area where people can come in and learn about spirituality, because not everybody wanted to fully accept that they were gifted. And if I think back to my journey, that makes complete sense. It took me a long time. So what I've decided to do is create a beautiful membership where people can learn about connecting to their guides, connecting to themselves, understanding all the different types of connection, because some people are told it's just through meditation. It's so not. There's so many different ways. And if I create this like hub for everyone, then I could just keep dropping content in there, and then they can just dip in and out as much as they want until they're ready to accept that they are gifted and that they have some area. And then if they want to continue with me, they can, or if they want to go elsewhere, they obviously absolutely can as well. So I created this membership area to go wider. Psychic School's going bigger and better. It's been going for a few years now, but I've kind of really nailed it down to the actual structure of exactly what it is that gets the results for people.
Sorry to interrupt. Do you have a website where people can register to Psychic School? Because I saw that on Instagram, but
So it's closed at the moment. It's open twice a year. So it opens in October and April. So we've just closed it for this round. But yeah, you can join twice a year and you get lifetime access. It's all on the website. You can join the waiting list. And the membership's open now. You can join at any time. It's on special offer actually to the end of this month, depending on when you bring this out, at the end of April. So yes, and I've got one-to-one spaces, but what I'm finding is my one-to-one needs to be more with the change makers. So the people that are here to lead on a much grander scale. So they're the people I'm working with at the moment that are the next leaders, the next uplifters, the ones that are here to reach the masses that are just needing that guidance to get to that step and want to do it quicker. So they're the people I'm working with at the moment. So it's incredible. I'm just like, oh, I love it. I can see the magic. Yes.
I can imagine. Okay, so people can reach you on your website, on Instagram, on the social media.
Probably the best. Yes, the Katie Helliwell on Instagram. Yeah.
Thank you, Katie. It was
Thank you for having me.
wow, such a great interview. Thank you so much. I'm sure it's going to inspire so many people and so many women, because I'm reaching out to women and I want to inspire young women, girls, maybe your daughters, because well, we need each other to uplift each other and to create the next era, the Aquarius age, right? So thank you everyone for listening, for sharing, and thank you so much, Katie. Thank you.
Thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure.
You're welcome.